All right, thank you so much for your attention. Welcome to the 23rd Annual Opening Ceremonies for the BC Natural Resources Forum. My name is Sarah Weber. I'm the chair of the Forum Advisory Committee, and it's my real pleasure to be back in Prince George kicking off this event for 2026. It's such a highlight of the year, and what I greatly appreciate is just how much people want to be here and how much energy you're bringing to the room at such an early hour of the day, and I know it's going to be a great couple of days. Throughout this event, I'll be emceeing along with my colleagues, Logan Wong, who many of you saw last night if you're at the dinner. Oh, there we go. Our MC Emeritus, Kevin Brown down there. Thank you, Kevin. As well as Emily Vakili and Tamlyn Botel. And as mentioned, we would really like to recognize and appreciate and acknowledge that we are on the ancestral territories of the Lheidli First Nation, and really want to thank you and say Hadi, as I've learned. But now you're supposed to say it back, Hadi. There we go. Thank you. I'd like to thank North River Midstream for the morning coffee and networking break that we enjoyed just before moving into the conference opening. And before we go any further, I would just like to do a quick safety share. In the event of an emergency, we will all exit through the doors, through the front foyer, and muster across the street in the plaza. So just we'll make some announcements, follow my lead, and we'll exit in a common orderly fashion as needed. It's now my great pleasure to invite Chief Dolleen Logan, Lheidli to provide a warm welcome, and at the same time, I'll invite our other dignitaries to the stage to take their seats.
Hadi. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody here for the 23rd Annual Natural Resources Forum, and this year's theme is Our Resources, Our Future, and it's a we. There should be a we in there, because all these major projects coming in, we can't do it alone. We have to do it together, because, like just for an example, with our wind project, Ecoener, Lheidli has no idea what to do with the wind farm, how to build it, and it's with their expertise, the government's expertise, that we were able to get this. So any projects that are coming in, it's definitely a we. We do it together, and this is how we work together for our future. So on behalf of our elders, our members, and our staff, we're extremely proud that you're here in our home territory, in our home city of Prince George. And where's Mayor Yu? There he is. Mayor Simon Yu, I have to acknowledge him. We've had an extremely long relationship with the city. And same with Mr. Todd Doherty. And actually, I'm Bob and Kyle. This is relationship building. This is how we get things done. So I'm so proud that you're here, and I hope you have a great day. Let's see.
Thank you so much, Chief. I would invite you guys to take your chairs, and first up, I would love to call on Mr. Todd Doherty, MP for Cariboo-Prince George.
Hadi. No, you guys can do it better. Hadi. That's all right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Todd Doherty. I'm the Member of Parliament for Cariboo-Prince George, and I'm the Conservative Shadow Minister for Addictions and Mental Health. You know, it's been 10 years that I've been coming to this event as the Member of Parliament here. 10 years I've stood before this house, or this hall, and I've raised the issues with respect to forestry, our natural resource, and how important they are for our communities. I do want to thank the organizers, sponsors, and volunteers for putting together this incredible event for the 23rd consecutive year. I think we've been saying 23rd for a few years now. No? 22nd. All right, okay. You know, 10 years ago, I had more hair. I probably would have wore a tie to this event. Now I'm a little bit more weathered. and my suits don't fit me quite the way that they did before. But our challenges are the same. You know, in Cariboo and across northern British Columbia, forestry, mining, and energy are more than just abstract policy files. I was looking to see where our colleagues from the province and perhaps our federal colleagues, if there are any here from the government, because I really want to direct these comments to them. Forestry, mining, and energy are the livelihoods of our families, the foundation of entire towns, the reason generations of people have been able to build a life here in our region. These industries help build this province and position Canada as a reliable resource leader on the global stage. And today, I want to begin by recognizing the workers, those families that have been hit hard by the mill closures, the uncertainty that, whether it's curtailments or the status of our forestry industry here in our region, what they face each and every day. But they continue to plug along. That's what we do in the Cariboo. That's what we do in northern British Columbia. We are resilient. We put our heads down and we get to work and we find a way, we find a solution. But there is so much uncertainty. At a time when economic pressures are mounting and confidence has been shaking, those workers, those families are standing strong. All of us owe them a debt of gratitude. British Columbia should be setting the pace for responsible resource development, not just nationally, but internationally. We are blessed with extraordinary natural wealth, and these resources are inseparable from our identity, our history, and our regional economies, including right here in Prince George. But as I said, we cannot ignore the reality that's confronting us. The numbers tell a stark story. 200,000 hardworking Canadians are employed by the forestry sector, more than steel, auto, and aluminum combined, yet they receive a fraction of the attention when we lose a mill or we lose jobs. As a matter of fact, I'm told when we raised it in the House by our colleagues across the way in the government, they laugh at us and say, it's not that bad. When we ask them what we're supposed to tell our constituents that lost their job, the comment that we get across the way is tell them to move. We face that every day. For 10 years, I've faced that. Over 30,000 forestry jobs have disappeared across Canada in less than a decade. Mill closures have rippled through communities that once anchored our regional economies. You see it in Prince George and Williams Lake and Quesnel, Vanderhoof, and 100 Mile House. The last quarter of 2025 was devastating for our region, devastating for our communities. When you lose a job, you lose those families. When you lose that mill, that's a massive, not only job creator, but tax base for those communities. In one fell swoop, 100 Mile lost half of their tax base when West Fraser closed their doors. Where's that money coming from? Where's those jobs? And it's not just the forestry job that you lose, because very often that job, that worker is tied to another family member, whether it's a nurse, a doctor, a teacher. Just over the past year, more sawmills, pulp, and paper facilities in this region have closed or scaled back operations. Just in the last few months, we've seen hundreds of jobs lost. 1,000 direct and indirect jobs lost between Drax Pellet Plant in Williams Lake and the Domtar Plant closure in Crofton. Each closure represents hundreds of families facing uncertainty at a time when the cost of living is already crushing. Each closure means more uncertainty for those families that are out of work. And once they leave, those families aren't coming back. When the jobs leave, the people leave. That's how small mill communities across our province are being hollowed out. When a mill closes in Vanderhoof or 100 Mile, it's not just direct and indirect jobs. It also means the municipal tax base, as I mentioned, is decimated. If these communities are going to survive long-term, reviving our forestry sector must be the central focus of our provincial and federal governments. The last 10 years, every time we mentioned with our previous prime minister. Every time he mentioned softwood, I'm pretty sure he thought that was something you had to take a pill for. That's a dramatic pause right there. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for us because we hear it. We live it every day. I've said this before. I logged. I ran skidder. I ran chainsaw. You know, I remember a time when our communities were dotted with the signs that said, "This family proudly supported by forestry." Those times are changing. Our workers deserve better, our families deserve better, and our communities deserve better. They deserve governments at every level that have their backs. I'm proud to be part of this group that's here, and with Chief Logan, we work together to try and find solutions. Sadly, and I'm scanning the crowd to see if we've got our NDP and our federal Liberal, any representatives here for it, because I really want to direct these comments to them. Take a moment, have a conversation with people at these tables, because it is that bad that we're saying. We're not sensationalizing it. And we need help. We're willing to do the work. That's why you're here today, is to have that conversation this week. Listen, I believe in Canada, we can be a global leader in responsible resource development, producing energy, minerals, and forest products with higher environmental standards than anywhere else in the world. We already do it. With the right leadership and the right priorities, our natural resource sector can once again deliver good jobs, strong communities, and long-term prosperity for British Columbia and for Canada. I thank each and every one of you guys for being here today, for this week. I thank our organizers for putting on this great event. I will be here for next year's, the 23rd annual again, or 24th, sorry. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to the conversations over the next day. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Todd. Well, now I would like to invite Bob Zimmer, MP for Prince George, Northern Rockies.
Thank you, Sarah.
The piece. You'll correct me.
Yes, it's often confused about what my riding actually is, but I'll mention it when I open up here. But I want to give a shout out to friends of mine, Gerald Lindbergh. Gerald, hey, over there. And David Ergang. I think this is the first time for David. Where are you, David? Oh, David over there too, hey. Two good friends of mine from north of the Rockies, but down here to the Resources Forum. But I just wanted to say thanks to Sarah and Kevin. Normally he's up here too, but I don't see him, but thanks. Welcome to the 23rd Annual BC Natural Resource Forum. I'm the Member of Parliament for where you're sitting right now in Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies. And I'm the Shadow Minister for Arctic Affairs and Northern Economic Development. And as I usually do, I would like to start by asking you all a question. Are you ready? Is the demand for energy here and around the world decreasing or is it increasing? So we're going to vote, okay? So hands up, you decide. So hands up, is energy demand decreasing around the world? Okay. Is energy demand increasing here and around the world? Wow, what a crowd, eh? You're absolutely correct. The global demand or need for energy is increasing. And I'm going to switch the word need instead of demand. When it's minus 45 outside and your furnace runs out of heating oil or natural gas, demand doesn't quite do the situation justice. Canada has some of the largest oil, gas, and uranium reserves in the world, yet we have federal and provincial governments that want to limit what we develop. The last 10 years, other energy-producing nations have continued to respond to increased global need for energy. Instead of developing our resources with our own world-class resource workers, with our own world-class Canadian standards to send to a world that needs them, our federal and provincial governments have openly stated they would rather leave our resources in the ground. Greg Ebel, president and CEO of Enbridge, said recently, "We have a long way to go. Canada has extraordinary resources, a skilled workforce, and leading environmental standards, yet we are not moving fast enough. projects linger. The permit process stretches on, capital looks elsewhere, we're losing this race. We now need to be a lot faster than our competition just to catch up, just to create confidence. And I want to talk a bit more specifically about something all of us use on a daily basis if we're honest. Whether we drive EVs or not, we still use oil. From the clothing we wear to the planes you flew to Prince George to get here, we all use it. Do you know how much oil we have compared to other countries? Canada has the 4th largest reserves of oil in the world. First is Venezuela, with 18% of global reserves at 300 billion barrels with exports of 655,000 barrels a day, soon to increase. Second is Saudi Arabia with 15% at 266 billion barrels with exports of 6 to 7 million barrels a day. Third is Iran with 12% at 210 barrels with exports of 1.4 million barrels a day. And fourth is Canada with 9% at 170 billion barrels with exports of 4.2 million barrels a day. So you'd think that we wouldn't import any oil into Canada, right? We import almost 232 million barrels of oil each year from around the world. That's 15% of the amount we export, and it's shocking. It shocked me when I saw these numbers. We import 381,000 barrels per day from the US, 70,000 barrels per day from Saudi Arabia, 63,000 barrels per day from Nigeria, 50,800 barrels per day from Iraq, and 32,000 barrels per day from Norway. Can you believe that? It's happening. Now, how many dollars worth of oil have we imported in the last 35 years? Anybody want to guess? Give me some numbers. How many since 1988? 200 billion? Trillions? We have imported over $600 billion in US in oil from other countries since 1988. 600 billion US dollars worth. Imagine what 600 billion USD or 830 billion in Canadian dollars added to our economy would look like. Not to mention 4 of the 5 countries we import from don't have production caps or industrial carbon taxes. To answer the question I asked earlier, more specifically, the need for oil is only increasing. International Energy Association says global oil need will increase by 13% by 2050, and OPEC says the global need for oil will increase by 18.6% by 2050. And did you know that there are communities in Canada who are still desperately in need of energy right now? Did you know just last month we had energy shortages in Yukon and Nunavut at minus 45-degree temperatures? The Arctic offshore moratorium implemented in 2016 by Justin Trudeau, and I know we don't want to mention his name again, but that's, I think, the last time I'll mention him in my speech, the first and last. His moratorium turned off the taps of oil and gas development in the Beaufort Sea, off the coast of Northwest Territories. Not only did that shut down billions of dollars of economic opportunity for the local communities in Northwest Territories, but also shut down the raw energy desperately needed to keep Canadians warm during cold winter months in the Arctic. The Arctic offshore moratorium shuttered the Mackenzie gas project that could have brought billions in economic opportunity and energy security to northern residents in Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Canada. Recently, we have seen Mark Carney's big promises to develop our resources lose their luster, as it doesn't look like he will get any major projects done anytime soon, and I really wish he would. We are energy rich, but cash poor, and that has to end. I could spend some more time criticizing, but I'd rather spend the last few minutes speaking about a few points in our plan and what we are going to do. Our plan, in short, is called the Canadian Sovereignty Act, and our leader, Pierre Poilievre, and we are calling on the government to, 1, repeal growth-blocking laws that have made it impossible to build pipelines, mines, and other major projects, driving investment out of Canada. End the industrial carbon tax, which raises costs on everything for Canadians and makes our energy production uncompetitive and drives up the cost of building homes and growing food. 3, scrap the oil and gas cap that kills jobs. 4, end the EV mandate for good, the EV mandate that increases the price for your gas-powered cars. 5, lift the plastics ban for Canadian consumers as well as Canadian producers. And 6, turbocharge the Canadian economy by eliminating the capital gains tax on reinvestments in Canada to increase spending and building in Canada right now. As my colleague Todd said before, we are blessed with resources in Canada. Nobody in the world produces natural resources better than our people and our companies do right here in BC and Canada. So how about being proud of what we do in Canada for a change? We need to stop appeasing global elites like those at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where Prime Minister Carney happens to be today, who are telling us what we should and shouldn't do. We must start doing what Canadians need us to do, and that's doing what's good for our economy right here in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. Now my great pleasure to welcome Kyle Giddens, our local MLA from Prince George-Mackenzie.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I'll still say that to everyone. Thank you to Bob, Todd, and to Chief Logan for your remarks. It's great to be back with you. I'm honored to once again be with you here today on the traditional territory of the Lheidli today in the great city of Prince George, the northern capital. Simon and I are both rocking our Mr. PG socks. You can ask him if you want a pair. For those who make the trip north each year, welcome back. This forum remains one of the most important events on the calendar for many of us, and especially those of us who care about the resource economy in British Columbia. And it's always a strong way to start the year. The BC Natural Resources Forum, the 23rd now, as we've heard, has grown into such an important space for serious discussion about public policy, investment, and the future of our resource sectors that we depend on. Having attended for many years, I worked previously, of course, manning a booth right outside, just like some of you in this room. I've had the conversations in the hallways, in the rooms upstairs. I've done all this hard work. It is very important because it matters beyond this conference. This is where a lot of the discussion happens that really leads to results down the road and solving some of those public policy challenges. This is my second year welcoming you as MLA. I'm not quite as weathered as my friend Todd Doherty, I guess. His words, not mine. But really, over the past year, I've continued to hear clearly from workers, from communities, and industry leaders from across the north at a time when British Columbians are facing fierce competition for capital, rising costs here at home, and yes, global uncertainty, but also uncertainty from public policy. One thing is very clear. It is not something that we can afford to hold back on responsible natural resource development. Our resources create good family-supporting jobs. They sustain northern and rural communities, and they are essential to BC's economic strength and resilience. Now more than ever, BC needs to be a place where responsible projects can move forward and where certainty and competitiveness are actually taken seriously. We've heard from my colleagues here that BC has what the world needs, from energy and minerals to forest products and the expertise to actually get the job done. But leadership requires action and not just rhetoric. It requires strong partnership, including with local and Indigenous communities, and a clear commitment to getting projects built with their input. I think this forum is where that work happens. BCNRF brings together the people who are willing to tackle tough conversations and help chart a practical path forward. We should be proud of BC's resource legacy and just as focused on securing its future. As the MLA for Prince George-Mackenzie, and on behalf of, in fact, all of the MLAs in the BC legislature, I wish all of you a productive forum. Let's get the deals done, and I wish all of you continued success. Let's improve, let's build prosperity in this province. Thank you, and enjoy the conference, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kyle. And now please join me in welcoming His Worship, Mayor Simon Yu from Prince George.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'm just glad that as a mayor, I don't have a party whip to tell me what to say. So I just gotta say whatever is from my mind. First of all, it's a really, it's so happy to see all of you here. And Sarah, this becomes so big. I have a lot of friends from Vancouver, from overseas. They came here this 23rd Natural Resources Forum. They said, well, Mary, you asked me to come here, but we have no dinner tickets and no lunch tickets. So what is going on here? And I said, well, isn't the sucking -10 air in Prince George middle of January good enough for you? It's a beautiful city, air's beautiful out there. We order great weather. And really, first of all, we have some issues. But first of all, as we stood up together, along with my colleague from the city, along with everybody here, we are really united. We understand what we need to do here, right? And Prime Minister Carney did receive a standing ovation 2 nights ago in Davos, and when he announced that there's a rupture, in the world order. And last night we heard from the Premier Evie, the old system is not going to come back, and reinforce that the world has changed. And we kind of know that. And this morning we also heard from Davos. Isn't it funny that every time we have a natural resource forum somewhere around the world, all the leaders gather together, try to deliver another set of message. He said that Canada exists because of the U.S. Wow. A couple months ago, a CBC reporter asked Mary Yu, he said, hey, Mary Yu, why do you think Canada become a 51st state? Well, I said, well, this is whether California becomes the 11th province. That's debatable. We can negotiate that. But having said that, really, the premier last night delivered a message. I think the eventual principle is this. The world is changing a little bit. The days based on principle and diplomacy doing things is changed to just pure power and be practical. Well, we're very practical people. We know Canada exists. It's because the gold is going to hit 5,000 tomorrow, I think. We are way there, okay? We have a lot of resources, as my MP and MLA friends have said. We have everything here. People always ask me, Mary Yu, this area, what's the area you service? I said, well, it's actually the size of France. Along with my council colleagues, my dear friend, Dolleen, and Clinton leaderships, my union brothers, Matt, good to see you here, and all the industry leaders and you guys here. We're here to build momentum, to make things happen. Yes, it's true. Prosperity only belongs to the people like you who have ambition and enthusiastically wake up Wednesday morning to breathe the -10 air and come here and get together. I really think this is going to be a successful forum because we are entering in the very critical juncture of history. Solution actually is here. Bob actually is the Arctic critic, and we, Prince George, can use our lumber to manufacture a lot of homes for the Arctic community and for all the community around Prince George and in BC. It is true, the Canada solution lies with the BC. BC solution lies with Prince George, and Prince George solution is right here. You're the solution. And I promise you, this is the year of a horse. We're gonna all be prosperous, and damn, we deserve it, And, really, Sarah just looked at the clock. She said, Mary, everybody took 5 minutes. You're going to go 2 minutes. Well, I still got 15 seconds. I just want to wish you all a happy new year of horse coming soon. And let's all have the energy, and let's all go out there let's tonight, in this crowd space, yes, have a drink, smell each other's deodorant. It's a good thing. And we will be moving forward together as a people, and this will be a one marked down as one of the most successful resource forum in Canada and probably in the world. Looking forward to great discussion with you guys all. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our dignitaries. I'd invite you to exit stage right, where my colleague Emily has a nice gift for you. And I would love to invite Simon Pascoe, the General Manager of Rio Tinto BC Works, to the stage. And I'd like to share that as we enter our 23rd year, Rio Tinto has been a proud sponsor for 22 of those 23 years, and they've just made a commitment to renew for another 3. So for Todd, that'll be 24, 25, and 26. So anyways, please join me in welcoming our patron sponsor, Representative Simon Pascoe, Rio Tinto. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Public speaking is not my thing. I run smelters and power stations, so I'll put that out front. But after Mayor Wu, wow. So it's great to be back in Prince George. Last time I was here in 23, and I was talking to Chief Logan. I think I had a video last year where you got to see me last year by video. Typically, I have family from Australia that come this time of year. This year I switched it around. So I took the kids off to Florida to get that done, and delighted to be here in Prince George again for the Natural Resource Forum. Firstly, I want to thank the Clay Tene and Chief Logan for having us on their traditional territory, and a warm welcome. And also a reminder to everybody that collaboration and respect are the foundations of building BC's resource future. I also want to acknowledge the many other nations that we as Rio Tinto operate in BC, and we certainly appreciate those true partnerships with appreciation and respect. As you know, I'm the GM. I've been the GM of BC Works from late 2022 until now, running the smelter and power station. I think I want to pause there. I think a lot of people, and I do want to thank Claire Rattay, our member, and bringing other members to our smelter to come and understand and really appreciate what we actually do in the north. And from the 1950s, when the facility was built, largest private investment in Canada at the time, and still running. And 7 years on, we run a 1,000 megawatt power station. We run a smelter with over 400,000 tonnes of metal that we export to the US, and also cross overseas to Europe and many other places. So I think it's certainly a place that if anybody wants to visit, we can arrange it. I think you'd be very impressed of what we have with the largest smelter on the west coast of the Americas. So I think you should be really proud of the investment that Canada and Rio Tinto have put in the region. This year's theme is momentum for continued growth. I'm an engineer, so I'm going to give you the definition of momentum. It's mass times velocity, right? The analogy I've got, velocity is speed. I won't get too technical about velocity and speed. They're not totally the same. That's for the engineers in the room. But the mass is the collaboration of people. So if you put that together, people need to come together. That's the mass. Taking a direction and moving gets the momentum. Without the two, you don't have anything. You just have energy being wasted. And I think that's important that the theme is momentum for the future and the growth of BC. You look at Western Canada's resources, it's a sector that's in the pivotal moment. Critical for Canada, critical for BC. You've heard it from all of the, Mark Carney last night in his speeches. It's absolutely critical now that Canada and BC are aligned and the region of British Columbia is aligned. We're seeing renewed confidence, accelerated infrastructure, project development and strong commitment to inclusive growth through meaningful partnerships with Indigenous and host communities. Do not underestimate those connections you must have with Indigenous and host communities. Without that, you're not going to move forward. So I think that was mentioned by Premier Eby. You must do it together, and I think at the end he was very clear about that. Momentum is not just about speed, it's about being together, ensuring the growth is sustainable, inclusive, and looking to the future. At BC Works, we've stood the test of time for over 7 years, producing low-carbon aluminium in Kitimat and powered by our Kamano power station. Our products support global decarbonisation from transportation to construction while contributing to the prosperity in the north. We're proud of that heritage and even more excited about the future that we can bring together with our partners across industry, government, Indigenous Nations and host communities. Rio Tinto has been a power sponsor for 22 years, and I know we're going to get all the numbers mixed up. It's the 23rd event this year, but we've been sponsors for 22, and we're very proud to be able to sponsor for another 3 years, so 27, 28, 29, for another 3 years. And as my team has highlighted, that was because we made sure it stayed in the north, in Prince George. So that was one of the requirements for us to be the key sponsor, was to make sure it stays here in the north. And part of being in the north, and the notes here, is effectively where the work takes place. This is where the connections take place. This is where people get to meet each other and to understand what's going on, and a great opportunity. I invite you to come to our booth. It's the one out the front with the aluminium maple leaf. So if you've never seen it, first in Canada, this is what I'm putting out there. We did the first aluminium totem pole last year that you got to see. That's built by a Canadian workforce. That's our workforce at BC Works, built the maple leaf. If you do need some help, we do have a little bit of a prize for you. There's 5 questions that you need to get right. I don't know if you need help or everybody's an expert on the 5 questions. I think I've got a copy here. Which of the following do you think is the main raw material used to produce aluminium, or aluminum, as you would say in North America? Everybody got the answer? I used to deal with this because I used to make alumina, which is the white powder that makes aluminium or aluminum. I'll give you a free one, A for bauxite, if you didn't know that answer. So anyway, not mined in Canada at this point. It's certainly imported, but certainly that's your first answer. 4 more and you can win yourself a projector. So don't miss that opportunity. And I says that it's pleased to be here for our collaboration and moving forward. This week I invite you to the booth. I've covered that off, so certainly make yourself over there, talk to the team, learn about what we do. If you are seriously interested in a visit in Kitimat or the region, let us know. I think it's important that people get to know who we are. Let's make the forum a success, share ideas, strengthen those relationships, renew old relationships and friends that you've had in the past, or working relationships, turn momentum into measurable growth for BC and Canada. And thank you everyone for turning up and being part of the Natural Resource Forum here in Prince George. So have a great day.